or whether it was an attempt to disguise the smell of growing marijuana. In any event, it's unusual for that reason.
Even in train cars? Yes, it seems as though even our beloved caboose cannot escape grow-up fever. When we read that 20 train cars were buried underground to grow marijuana, busted or not, we had to see this. So we set out. But not before asking our sound man if we could use his SUV, and coaxing him with a little free gas. Where we were going, we would need it.
We're in the boondocks, way up here. You wouldn't want to go over that puppy. This is what they brought up diesel fuel to power the generators in, with how much they were growing and how much the generators needed. I mean, that's a full truckload there.
And finally, after a few hours on the highway and climbing up the side of a mountain, we get there.
We had to go into 4 low just to get up here. And you can see I'm dressed right. I'm in jeans and frickin' sneakers. Fuck. My feet are cold. There's no neighbors. Like, look to the right. There's nobody there. Nobody here, nobody there. I mean, I imagine they're probably laid this way. They've been obviously following you, like where you're getting your diesel, where you're getting the tanks, where you buy 10 train carts, where you buy 150 lights. These are diesel pumps. And it looks like there's still diesel leaking in these things here. This is how you got down there. Just want to make sure it's okay to down here. I feel like I'm going into a cave. All right, watch your feet there. Not as cold under here. About 8 train carts down that way, I'm guessing. So I mean, I can't even see to the end, and then 2 deep. Each one is 2 deep. Down here, 2 deep. Down the next one, 2 deep. 3, 4, there's numbers on the wall. And then what they did is they cut them to make doorways, and that's how you have your hallways going into each one. There are water reservoirs here. And you see 1, 2, 3, you're like, okay, that's quite a bit. But then there's this one, and that one, and another one at the end. Look at these things. Like, no wonder the cops just left it. Moving this shit would be a pain in the ass. Yeah, these train carts, I see why they bought them. They got a deal. They're like all rusted in the bottom. We could start growing here tomorrow. There's still dirt and fertilizer ready to go. Oh, here, once a little leftover plant there. Look at this. Just look at all this wiring right here. You can see the cops that come severed everything.
What are those chains for?
Chains are where they were hanging the lights. The reason why they use the chains because then they can adjust the height. You know what? Actually, you want to get me to run all the way down to see how far away I am? So I'm going to go to the end here and just show you how deep this is. And this was all filled with plants. Whoa. I'm at the end. Now I can hardly see over there. It's just like lights to me. This is how far away, like to give you an idea just how big this is. God, it's a trek just to get back to where you guys are. And you're going to see a lot of repetition because here it goes again. Bang. All the way down. When it said in the paper 20, it's got to be 10 long and 2 deep each one because then you get your 20 carts. Man, I wish we could have seen that while it was still rolling. That is crazy.
You wouldn't know there's a law here. Check this out. Cannabis Day. An actual day dedicated to marijuana. And take note, this takes place on one of the busiest high-traffic blocks of BC's largest city, Vancouver. Marijuana? It's everywhere. Consumed and sold in every imaginable way. Pipes, bongs, joints, baked goods. It was hard to imagine that nearly every person attending this event was breaking the law, and yet no one seemed to care. The police were there, but not to bust people.
They held traffic for the band to play for Cannabis Day. Now they went back to their side of the street. Sure, no problem, brother. No problem. Complying with the 5-0.
One of the organizers told me that in all the years this event has taken place, there's never been a violent incident, except once. by a man who's believed to be under the influence of alcohol. We heard there was a jazz festival happening at the same time on the other side of the block. It wasn't doing quite as well, but there was one group doing all right.
Right up there, as you can see, is still Cannabis Day going on. But right here, not even a block away, is a church retreat, and they're selling donuts. I was like, well, what do you guys think about the rally? And they're like, we need to pray for them. And I was like, well, you guys are selling food for them, right? And I'm sure they've sold record amounts today, I guess, too. So we'll see. We'll get an interview here shortly, hopefully.
The interview never came.
There was so much marijuana, it was unbelievable. I think we almost all got contact highs just from being around the smoke. But I did get a donut. I did purchase some of these on the way out. Those church girls got me.
A culture of marijuana has been established in BC. From paraphernalia to cafes, from seed selling to its very own political party, the BC Marijuana Party, even bakers.
Cooking show, Baked and Baking, where we're going to revolutionize the cooking show and we're going to let you guys in on the action.
Meet Watermelon Girl. She's made a name for herself as BC's only drug dealing, nudist, comic, pin-up, baker. Did I get all that in? She was arrested for selling her cookies down on Wreck Beach. A nude beach. Is this for real?
I'm like the Heidi Fleiss of weed. I tell everybody, like lawyers, doctors, like there's no proverbial yo G, you know, like none of those. Like all professionals come in through my house. You know, a lot of people with money, a lot of people in politics. You don't want to know who comes through here, you know. My mother was a baker and her mother was a baker, and we just bake. So I made these pot cookies and I started selling them. It's hard to ignore such a large demand.
So you got arrested one time on Wreck Beach, right?
Yeah, I've been arrested more than once. Allegedly trafficking ginger snap cookies.
Allegedly trafficking ginger snap cookies. So I'm assuming not regular ginger snap cookies, right? The one with acts
right.
Snap crackle pot.
But even the judge is like, uh-huh. You know what I mean? Like he's seen violent crime after violent crime, and then along comes the cookie girl. Cops are supposed to come and remove undesirables from communities, and I clearly was not an undesirable person in my community. Like, somebody else needs cookies. Actually, I just got picked up by the National Speakers Bureau, so I actually go on speaking tour to universities and talk to kids about marijuana.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's like the most genius. I'm like, you want me to talk about marijuana? We're like, okay. And they pay me to do it. Lock up your kids. This is a heinous crime.
So at some point, one might ask oneself, how does an industry of this size function while remaining illegal? Where does the money flow? Who's profiting off of it? Is there really $7 billion floating around the province unaccounted for? Maybe people are feeling the effects and they don't even know it. Turns out there seems to be a system. Some have even given this system a name.
Well, a lot of people here in town and stuff consider it a union, right?
Union?
Yeah, the union, and you know, it's like a different, it's a different term for pretty much industry.
It's this underground thing where there's so many different tradesmen and different people all working together.
You have to work together with people that you trust because it's illegal to do what people are doing here.
So this is how the so-called union breaks down. And of course, there are many exceptions to this, but this is the typical setup. First, you have a home or landowner. He doesn't take on much responsibility. He is simply the legitimate owner of where the grow operation will take place. All he has to do is pick up a briefcase every 3 months and pay off his mortgage. His hands are clean because he can claim ignorance if the grow operation is busted. Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I didn't know they were growing marijuana there. Then you have his 50-50 partner, the contractor, who will provide the equipment and hire the grower or grow himself. The grower is known as the fall guy. Why the name? Because that's exactly what he is. If the operation is busted, he takes the fall. Once the crop is matured, clippers are then hired. They prep the weed for distribution by cutting away the excess leaves and stems. What a lot of people don't understand is a part of the marijuana plant that people smoke is the bud, which in essence is the plant's flower. It's not the leaves. Clippers are generally hired on an hourly wage starting around $20. Tax-free, of course. Once the marijuana is ready, in steps the weed broker. He's not always required, but sometimes the partner with the equipment needs a broker to buy his product and then sell it for him. In the event that a broker is required, it usually means the weed is headed south to the United States. In that case, the broker will buy the pot for somewhere between $1,800 and $2,000 a pound.